I'm concerned that police officers across the country, they know you support law enforcement, of course, but do they really in their heart feel like you're doing everything you can to protect their lives? Words matter. Your words matter much more than mine.
They are the men and women who are charged with enforcing the law. They are the individuals who put their lives on the line every single day when they leave the house and go to work. Witness what happened in Dallas recently when it was all about just being there to oversee a peaceful protest. And 5 people are no longer alive, their families and friends devastated at the outcome of something that should never have put a life on the line. Yet, while we look to law enforcement for protection, these are the professionals who at this moment are under attack, under siege from those who would choose anarchy, arm a population with no thought of training or guidance, and make them the enemy by whitewashing the real underlying issues and knee-jerking to blanket calls for calling them all killers, seeking to murder for no other reason than race. Yet when events such as San Bernardino, Paris, the Philippines, Bangladesh, and now Nice destroy lives and murder innocents around the world, we turn to police and law enforcement demanding to know, why didn't you protect us? Why didn't you do your job? Cops in this country are on their heels at a time when we need them more than ever to be vigilant and be doing everything they can to ferret out the killers before they succeed. Our guest is a member of the executive board of the FBI's Joint Terrorist Task Force, who has been protecting the population for more than 40 years. Sheriff of Palm Beach County, Florida since 2005. It's a pleasure to welcome back Sheriff Ric Bradshaw to the show. Sheriff, it's always a pleasure to get a chance to talk to you.
Great to be here.
Are we just at a point now when we look at Nice, using a truck this time, loaded with explosives and weapons, where we've got to say out loud, we don't know everything that's happening. The cops can't be ahead of everybody. Anything and everything can be used as a weapon, and we're just doing the best we can.
Yeah, we are the last line of defense in the neighborhoods and in our communities. What's interesting is there's a magazine called Inspire that's put out by the terrorist groups that actually step by step taught people how to use a vehicle to kill people. And whoever this individual was did exactly what was said in that magazine about getting a truck, hard speed, loaded up with explosives, get into a crowd, cause mass destruction. It was right there in front of it. And guess what? I guarantee you in the United States, somebody's going to do that just like that because of what they saw and the fact that they don't even have to go buy a gun. They can use the vehicle as a weapon. It will happen.
There has to be no doubt in your mind that not only that is happening right now, but here in the United States, you have people who are thinking about cars, trucks, swords, knives, small explosives, IEDs, whatever it is. So the question is, how in the name of God can you get ahead of this when you basically have people who are learning from manuals, learning from magazines, they're plotting? You can't just walk into somebody's home. You can't walk into their head and know what they're doing.
No, actually, our best and most valuable asset are the people that live here in the United States, the people that live in the neighborhoods. There's so many times, and we've talked about this, there's so many times that one of these things happened, somebody comes forward and says, I saw the guy practicing military drills in the backyard. I saw him, he had a rifle that looked like an assault weapon. Or the guy went and bought 5,000 rounds of armor-piercing ammunition. There's always some things ahead of time that tip us off, and people that live in the neighborhoods and see these people doing things, or they talk about it on social media with their friends, need to come forward. They need to say, look, this person is talking about doing something bad.
But in those neighborhoods, in some of those neighborhoods, African-American neighborhoods, Hispanic neighborhoods, Muslim neighborhoods, whatever it is, they look at you and they see you and other cops as the killers. You're hunting them, in their opinion right now. So how do you get past that? That seems to me to be impossible.
Well, the way you get past it is what I've done. I did it about 8 or 9 months ago. I formed citizen advisory groups. They're in our regions here. This county's so big, I can't just have one of them. So we put one in each of the regions, north, south, center, east, and west. And it's made up of a cross-section of the clergy, community leaders, people that live in those neighborhoods, business people, and they meet with our commanders that have the districts in that area, and we have a dialogue.
But don't you have to get to the trust factor first? You can have all the dialogue you want with 10 people in a neighborhood, but if the thousands of them don't trust you, it's useless.
But we hope that those people will tell 10 people that will tell 10 more that will tell 10 more. Look, violence on either side of this issue is unacceptable. right? But we have to have a legitimate, honest conversation. What I mean by an honest conversation is we need to listen to the concerns of all of the minority groups, but they also need to listen to our point of view, why we take the action we take. And then the last piece of this puzzle, and it's our responsibility, is to make sure that the deputies and the officers have the best possible training to slow things down, take a tactical pause, de-escalate if at all possible. There's some things that are going to happen that are going to be instantaneous. They're going to walk up to the car, the guy's going to pull a gun, or there's going to be a robbery in progress. There's no de-escalation there. You got to do what you got to do. But when there's a chance to back up, let's slow things down. Let's take a deep breath here. Let's try to calm the situation down and de-escalate it. That's important training.
The chief of police in Dallas, David Brown, when he had his press conference, he offered one way for citizens to truly make a difference in the community, and I thought it was absolutely brilliant what he said. I know you've heard it. Let's remind everybody. Here's what he said.
Don't be a part of the problem. We're hiring. We're hiring. Get off that protest line and put an application in. And we'll put you in your neighborhood and we will help you resolve some of the problems you're protesting about.
Is that not part of it? Because you're going to go to neighborhoods and say, look, there is crime in this neighborhood, whatever it is. White, black, blue, brown makes no difference. And where there's crime, we have to react, and we have to come in, and we have to know what's happening. In the last couple of days, what I have failed to hear from a lot of people is the communities themselves, the men, the women, the people, the leaders there, not just the religious leaders, but everybody needs to get involved, and they don't want to because they're convinced that you don't want to help them.
Yep, and he's entirely correct. Why don't you become part of the answer instead of everybody hollering and screaming at each other? Because that's going nowhere. We've had enough of that. So, yeah, he needs about 200 people. We're always looking for deputies. So if you want to become part of the answer instead of part of the problem, come join the organization and go out there and make a difference. But back to the community groups, we offer that to people. We offer them to come look and see part of a Citizens Police Academy and then go out and talk to people and say, hey, I've seen what the police do. I understand why they do this, this, and this. Why don't you come and listen to what's going on? Of course, we can't hire everybody. But if you come,
we don't have the money.
That's right. But if you come and listen to what's going on and you see how we operate and why we do things, you get a different perspective.
What about those who still go back to the militarization of police? I mean, let's face it, a lot of the military equipment did wind up in police hands. You probably have some of it as well. Yeah. But it is a militarized citizenry that is out there right now that has more weaponry than they ever have before. Do we just have to come to the point of understanding that cops can't do their job in this country unless they are what you want to call militarized, but they got to be ready to take the bad guys and the bad gals out at a single moment. You can't do it when you're facing somebody who's got automatic weapons in their hands.
Yeah, and there's a place and a time for everything. There's a place and a time to be dressed in a certain, military vest and a ballistic helmet. That's not the normal part of the job every day, but when it comes to needing those types of equipment to deal with the person that you're going to have to deal with, you better have it or you're going to end up on the wrong side of things like they did in Dallas. You got 5 cops that are dead because they didn't have the ballistic armament on them at the time to do what they needed to do.
Why would anybody want to become a cop right now?
I couldn't give you a good reason for that if it was me. I mean, I've been in this for 45 years. This changed so much. I don't know if I could go out there and do that job today, given the circumstances. But I think you're still going to get people that want to make a difference in this world. I think you're still going to get people that have a sense of public service. And I still think you're going to get people that say, you know what, if I get this job and I go out there and I go back into my neighborhoods, I can make a difference. Those people will still come to us.
Are they still coming?
Yeah.
To you?
We've got a lot of people that still want to get into this job for the right reasons.
I got about a minute or so left. I can't let you get away without talking about the technology side of all this, what we saw in Dallas. The police using a robot to detonate a bomb next to the killer. That took a lot of people by shock, and it really hasn't been completely explained yet. Is that now de rigueur when it comes to police work? Do you use it, and is that the coming world that we're facing?
Well, we do have robots. We use them for several different things, and each individual circumstance dictates its own way you're going to resolve it. If somebody has found a place that they're willing to defend, like a concrete structure, and there's only one way in and one way out, you're not going to risk another human being's life to try to get inside that place to do what you need to do. Obviously, he had found a place that he was willing to defend. It was hard to get other personnel in there. So at the point in time where they decided that they're going to neutralize him and neutralize the threat, they used whatever means they have to. When you get right down to it, if you're going to take that type of action where you're going to have to take somebody's life, whether you do it with a bullet or whether you do it with a bomb is really not going to matter. You still made the decision, you got to do it.
30 seconds. Cops don't hate citizens, do they?
No. No, listen, if we really hated citizens, we'd stop going to the minority neighborhoods, and they ended up shooting themselves. There was 60 shootings in Chicago in 3 days, and 90% of it was black on black. Where do you think most of our resources are? They're in the minority neighborhoods, all right? So if we really wanted everybody just to, get hurt and we don't care about them, we'd quit going to the minority neighborhoods to resolve the crime that's happening there.
I have told people over and over again on this show, social media, whatever, get all the facts, take a breath, because without the cops, it is still anarchy, and without the cops, there's a lot more people getting killed without you people putting your life on the line every single day. Sheriff,
don't jump
always
to
a pleasure, my
conclusions.
friend. That's the right way to do it.
We did that in Ferguson.
Never
It was hands
do.
up, don't shoot, and that was not the truth.
Do not jump to conclusions, but stay with us because the hardline will continue.